Maybe this is you. You have achieved all your goals, and you're so grateful for the younger you for working just so hard. But maybe that's not you. You're unproductive. You waste all your time. You do all this garbage. Don't even think about what you're doing consciously. Maybe you're not even conscious. So I'm going to give you an actionable step right now. Make your bed right now, okay? I promise you it'll help start to build the habit of not wasting time, because when you have structured routines in your life, then that's when you start to develop very strong habits, and your younger you will thank you, okay? So I'm going to present to you a solution. You're going to do some work, okay? If your issue is that you are wasting a lot of time, I'm going to tell you the solution is just to not waste your time, right? Obviously. What I am telling you more specifically is that you just need to start. Okay, let's say you have a goal, right? You just need to start working on that goal. I know you've already thought about the plans, don't make any excuses like, oh yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know what workout plan I'm going to do, or I don't know how I'm going to start this business. Who cares? Just start it. So I think one of the best ways to go from wasting time to using your time efficiently is to recognize first when you're wasting your time, and then after you start recognizing it, make changes, right? Say, I'm going to go from this to that. So I'll give you an example. So a few years ago, I was super into scrolling on TikTok, right? And I realized at the end of one of my days, right, I was like, oh, I spent 2 hours today scrolling on TikTok. Maybe I could use that for something good. So I had a moment of self-reflection, right? Which is what I'm going to ask you to do. And then you're going to go from self-reflection, what can I do with that time instead of, scrolling TikTok for 2 hours? If you don't have anything better to do, I'll be very surprised, okay? I'm confident that you have something better to do than scroll TikTok, right? Yeah, so the next part is just making sure you actually do the work in that new allotted time. So you have that time that you go from TikTok to studying for your test, right? You have that time when you study, and make sure that you actually do it, right? There is no rational reason that you would choose to spend your time scrolling on TikTok rather than study for an important test, right? That sounds stupid. It sounds stupid because it is stupid. No one who's actually rational would tell you that's a good use of your time. So once you've consciously realized, hey, this is not a good use of my time, that's when you start implementing the changes. Use that as motivation. And then another thing I'll say is just don't live with a regret. Maybe you'll be 50 years old, right? You'll say, oh, I wish when I was 20 or 15 or whatever age, that I just didn't spend so much time on TikTok. I could have been so much further ahead in my health, in my life, in my relationships, all this other stuff. I could have just been a better person. But instead, I wasted all of it scrolling on TikTok. That sounds so incredibly stupid. Well, I wouldn't want to say that it's embarrassing, because in some ways that might discourage you from starting to actually try. But if you also think it's embarrassing, use that as motivation. Don't go back to the pacifier that is your phone. Maybe just try being ambitious and doing all this stuff that you want to do, right? In this specific scenario, you can choose to not live with regret. And then some people will be like, oh, well, I still need my scroll. I need to get my scroll in. I need to hit 10 TikToks today. That's not productive or useful. So I want to introduce a new idea to you. It's called a productive break. And by that I mean it is 7 p.m. You just ate dinner, and then you're going to spend the next hour studying for an important math test, right? Great. What you want to do after the math test, you're going to be like, oh, well, after an hour, I feel like I can't really study so well. My focus has dropped off and my effort has dropped off. So I'm going to take a quick break. What you should not do in that 5 to 10 minute break or whatever is go on your phone. I would never, ever recommend going on your phone in that time. Because if you do, you're going to be flooding your brain with dopamine. And your brain's going to be like, oh yeah, we can just have a bunch of happy time with looking at Instagram Reels. You're going to see some stupid video about me coming home after my 1 hour shift at McDonald's to my neurosurgeon wife because a customer yelled at me. So I will introduce to you the idea of a productive break. So let's say after it's at 8 p.m., you just finished studying for an hour. Maybe you'll go back, or maybe you'll do some other work. I feel like I need to take a break. So you go, maybe you have a snack, right? 10 minutes, just eat a small snack. Don't look at your phone. Don't listen to music. Maybe talk to someone you know personally. Or the other option is you go for a walk, right? If you can physically move your body, it doesn't have to be outside, but obviously that's ideal. Physically moving your body kind of resets your brain in a lot of ways. And it helps you to really retain the information that you just learned. Because if you're studying some complex topic like math, right, you'll go out, You'll study it a bunch, and then maybe you'll understand most of it, and then you walk outside, you kind of forget it, but your brain is like internalizing it a bit. So that's when your brain actually learns it. That's when the real learning is happening. So that's how you have a productive break, right? You don't just, scroll on your phone for 10 minutes or respond to messages. Go eat something, or you go take a walk, or you go do some exercise, or maybe you sweep or something. Like something that keeps you moving, keeps you kind of distracted. Believe me, productive breaks are definitely a game changer. And that is how I would suggest optimizing your time. Thanks for watching.